This is Solo Only, a character that can't interact with other players. In March of 2023, I set out on a journey to answer one question. Can you solo Final Fantasy XIV? Could you beat the game and reach the end of Endwalker without ever using market boards, quest rewards, parties with other players or NPCs, and only using NPC shops if I had no other option? To top it all off, I'd be facing all content with level sync or silence echo for as long as it was possible. All the progress for this account is streamed every Thursday and Sunday on Twitch or YouTube if you ever feel like stopping by. With our current spot in the main quest line, we've run into a problem. A big problem. At this point, the gear that's available to us is few and far between, to say the least. Almost all of the higher level crafted equipment requires items we can't get, and our biggest damage dealer, Reaper, is practically as geared as it can be. And there are two roadblocks left in our way before we get access to the rest of the map and the best gear in Heavensward. The Vault, and a trial that most people considered impossible with the solo restrictions, Bismarck. If we can't take down both of them with our current equipment, well, let's not think about that for now. Riding off the adrenaline of clearing Nidhogg at the beginning of stream, it's time to progress the story once again. Around 30 minutes of questing, we reached the first of those two roadblocks, the Vault. After the last dungeon cost us 40 hours of grinding, the hollowed halls of the Vault filled me with anxiety and excitement. I was going to make sure this time was different. Even with level sync, we've got access to raw intuition, so most trash pulls aren't a threat anymore. With the extras defeated, we're on to the first boss, Ser Adolfo. He starts the fight as a normal dude with 3 adds, but after taking them down and dropping him below 40% health, he buffs up, heals to full, and the real fight begins. Holiest of Holy hits everyone in the arena for 1000 health, Heavenly Slash is an instant tank buster dealing 2000 damage, and Holy Shield Bash is a health check. Stunned for 2 seconds, he hits us twice with Solid Ascension for a total of around 4000 damage. At 70% health, he adds Shining Blade into the mix, dashing around the arena and leaving bright spheres behind him. After a short pause, the bright spheres will explode, dealing damage to anyone near them, and Adolfo slams down with an AoE hit, Execution, an incredibly flashy move that isn't all that dangerous with mitigations. Heavenly Slash ends our first run at 54%. Shining Blade is the last new mechanic he has, so with better damage reduction, Adolfo goes down on the second try. The next set of enemies blocking our path are surprisingly much more difficult to manage, but aside from the one death, we reach the second boss, Sir Grinno. The only attack during his first phase is Rive, a line AoE in front of him. At 50%, he gets his own buff and actual mechanics. Immediately after dropping down, Grinno casts Dimensional Collapse, hitting huge sections of the arena. Heavy Swing is a tank buster, and Hyperdimensional Slash is a consecutive line AoE that creates a dimensional rift along the edge of the arena. If you go near it, it tethers to you, dealing heavy damage. Faith Unmoving comes after, knocking you back from the center. Just make sure you aren't in front of a rift. Then, Dimensional Rip is a targeted AoE that leaves a pool on the ground dealing damage to anyone standing in it. That's all his mechanics, and since he doesn't have any big damaging attacks, Grinno goes down on the first try. You know the drill at this point. Adds die, and we're on the final boss, Ser Charibert. Heaven's Flame is an AoE on every party member. Holy Chain tethers you to another person. Okay, that's a freebie. Chest Knights spawn and stumble towards you, dealing damage if they step on you. Altar Pyre is the best voice line in the game. Sickness must be purged. And at 60%, Charibert begins his enrage, spawning holy flames around the arena. After his final cast, every flame left alive will explode in sequence, dealing raid-wide damage to the entire party. 2 tank busters in a row, right as raw intuition comes off cooldown, seconds away from healing, we lose our first attempt. Charibert's damage was incredibly high, keeping us below half health for the entire fight, but after some close calls, he goes down on the second attempt, and the vault is cleared. Now, there's only one thing left between us and the best gear in Heavensward. Hitting the like and subscribe button. No, wait, that's something else, sorry. Tired and filled with pride from clearing 2 dungeons in one day, we push on to our final goal for the stream.
Did you know? The bi in Bismarck stands for bisexual.
Does it? I had no idea. This is what I get for skipping cutscenes. I don't know the important lore like that. That's why he has 2 snakes. An hour of losing my mind to quests later, the laughter and joking dies down as we approach the fight I've been dreading since the very beginning of this series, Bismarck. It was time for our first glimpse at what would end up being the hardest fight in all of Heavensward. Starting with level sync, I don't just have to think about my own health in this fight. I also have to manage the health of the island we're standing on. Bismarck slams into the ground, dropping the integrity to 80%. Every slam deals 20% unless I use the Magitech field generator in the center, reducing it to 7. 2 Vundu adds spawn, one that deals physical damage and uses a line AoE that can knock you off the platform if you don't dodge it, and another that deals magic damage and has more dodgeable AoEs. For a level synced warrior, these 2 on their own were too much, and the fight ends before it even begins. Re-entering with Silence Echo, we manage to survive the first round of damage and move on to the next mechanic. As Bismarck winds up, we throw on the shield to reduce his damage, and the dragon killers become active shortly after. Using them shoots a harpoon into the whale, and if both are used within a short period of time, they drag Bismarck to the island, allowing us to get on its back and deal our first bit of damage. But something strange happened with this. While I was dealing damage to Bismarck, the adds I left alive seemed to have forgotten about me, throwing down AoEs and attacks at nothing in the center of the arena. All too late, I realized that while I had stepped away to hit Bismarck, they were damaging the island. I wasn't strong enough to kill them in time, and so the island was destroyed. Even with Epic Echo, my warrior was still too weak, so we swap over to Reaper for the higher damage. With the adds dead, the real fight finally begins. This first phase, that was nothing. The door boss, if you will. Not a single mechanic mattered. With the chitin on Bismarck's back broken, the real boss appears. The Sanua. When they get close to each other, they tether together, gaining a 90% damage reduction. I knew this was going to be difficult, but after a few deaths, I finally took the time to figure out just how difficult it was. And, well... Three GCDs. I have to kill that thing in 3 GCDs. Oh my god. 3 GCDs, dude. We could still kill them while they had the damage reduction, but the majority of our damage needed to happen in just under 8 seconds. And so our first day at Bismarck comes to an end. To get through Nidhogg, I had used everything available to us. There was no option within the zones we had access to that would give us any meaningful upgrade, so we had to dig deeper than anyone had ever gone before. Forced back to Feast of Famine, we failed to catch the Helicoprion and failed 2 attempts at the Nepto Dragon. To take down Bismarck, we needed stronger armor. Bursting through the Sanua and surviving their tank busters on a DPS with almost no healing was going to need every last stat increase we could get. The closest upgrade, Sky Pirate, was just slightly better than what I had now, but required Chimerical Felt, an item we can only make in Azazla, an area locked behind Bismarck. And the Adamantite set was also locked behind access to Azazla. The only option I had right now was the chest piece I had tried to make last time, the Sky Pirate's Coat of Maiming. It used materials we had access to, but we had to get some big upgrades for our crafting gear before we could make it. With that plan in mind, we head back into Bismarck for some more testing. To even have a chance of getting past the Sanua, we would need to farm Echo Buff. If I start the fight, survive for 3 minutes, and then die by whatever means we choose, we could get a stacking 10% buff going all the way to 50%. This meant that we had to dedicate 15 minutes at the start of every attempt to just sitting there and dying, but there was no getting around it. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get the adds to separate, and they were immune to all stuns and other debuffs. Once they got the damage reduction, we were stuck with it until one died. With a full buff, our best attempt got the first add to 55%. Before going too much further in, we knew this phase had an enrage, but had no idea what kind of enrage it was. If it hadn't been updated, we may just be able to survive it and move on in the fight. So we step back in on Warrior to try and reach it. 2 minutes, 20 seconds-ish. As high health as we can manage. 97,841. I can live that. With some more upgrades and the Echo's 50% buff, it wouldn't be that difficult to get above 100,000 health to survive it, but there was another problem that I hadn't noticed. When Bismarck uses Breach Blast, the island's health drops to 1%, meaning as soon as the next phase started, the island would break and we would wipe. Now, to unlock better crafting materials. For accessory upgrades, we needed hollowed chestnut lumber, which needed hollowed water, which needed Abalathian mistletoe, which needed flight in the Sea of Clouds, which, needed us to beat Bismarck. But there was another option. Out of all the high-level leaves, there are only a select few on the entire list we can get the materials to complete. A culinarian leaf using birch syrup, a carpenter leaf using birch logs, and an alchemist leaf for enchanted Aurum Regis ink. And it just so happens that the alchemist leaf has Abalathian mistletoe as a possible reward. While out collecting the ingredients for the ink, I make what is possibly the worst mistake of my life. Something that would send us down a spiral of torture and suffering for 40 hours. A dragon skin map. We grab some Aurum Regis sand and Abalathian spring water to make enchanted Aurum Regis ink and run off to find some treasure. These level 60 maps, meant for a full party of 8 players, had a chance at spawning a portal to the Aquapolis if you could defeat all the enemies it spawned in 5 minutes. We grabbed the map on a whim, hoping to have a bit of fun and possibly get some cool cosmetics, but I wouldn't realize until much later what I had just done. I just need you to know that my portal luck is 100% of the time. No. At least we could do a map. You know what? That was good enough. There are no recipes that require this. What is this? It's market prohibited. This is untradeable. I can't sell it. I can't craft it into anything. What am I supposed to do with this? Now that we had our ink, we just needed to continuously complete filling in the blanks until we hit the 23% chance at Abalathian mistletoe. And there was a little surprise waiting for us along the way. Wait, what the heck? Whoa. What are these stats, dude? That's amazing. This is actually better than the Adept gear, and I can meld to it. And the Abalathian mistletoe is coming around. We're making it. At least I'm getting a lot of free love. For my alchemist, does not make me super happy. This isn't so big of a jump. It's a 16 craftsmanship and 6 control increase, but it's not bad. So the actual difference that we had is this one, which is 110 craftsmanship. This chest piece is really nice. Dude, Solo's hot. What happened? How did we get here? All in the haircut. Definitely all in the hair. The Emmerich haircut does make it a lot better. The first batch of leaves got us 4 Abalathian mistletoe, and we needed 12 total to make the accessories. But before heading back for another round, I needed to level my carpenter. A few dark chestnut logs and lumber later, we've hit level 60. Leveling done, we head back out for some Abalathian spring water for hollowed water, raw amber, flax for linseed oil, terebinth for varnish, and hollow chestnut lumber for 2 hollow chestnut rings. Throwing some materia on, we pop over to the churning mists and grab some hard silver sand for hard silver nuggets to make a dragon fang earring. Checking in on leave rewards, we're brought back to earlier when we did that map. Normally, I shouldn't be able to complete this as it requires a griffin talon, an item that we can't get until Azus La, but I had one on me. We had gotten it as a drop from the map. Even without getting into the Aquapolis, the Dragonskin maps were able to get us access to materials well beyond our reach and suddenly cemented itself as a necessary part of our progression. Mistil and Deep Eye Tears make a grade 1 dexterity dissolvent, and with the lucky map drop from earlier, we make a Griffin Talon ring of aiming and then turn it in for some new crafting shoes. Taking on a lower level leave, Iron Ore and Grenade Ash make a titanium nugget that we turn in for a titanium ball peen hammer. 3 hours of crafting and gathering, and we've got our hands on some much better gear, though it's still not enough to make the new chess piece. Drifting towards Kupo Adventure to finish off the night, I'll just make the rest next time. It'll be fine. For the rest of our gear, we're relying on leaves once again. Hunting for armor and Abalathian mistletoe is pretty simple. If no leaf has the item you want, just complete any leave and the rewards will refresh. Give the list a full check, and if there's still nothing good, repeat until gear. More often than not, we'd see the same gear we already had, or new pieces would be on a leave that we couldn't complete. So we hopped back to the Sea of Clouds and added birch logs and birch sap to the list to expand our options. More failed attempts at catching a feast of famine fish.
All I've ever wanted was to catch the Helicoprion before I died.
We craft some birch lumber and turn it in for 2 hollow chestnut lumber, a nice way to skip Abalathian mistletoe. The next cycle gets us gloves, a repeat doublet, and some more shoes. Before we head off to gather everything for the leaves, chat convinces me to check out the large-scale variant. These cost 10 leave allowances and give much less experience than just doing all 10 separately, but they can't give equipment as a reward, so they're an easy way to get the Abalathian mistletoe and hollowed lumber to finish our accessories. Grabbing our doublet and boot boots, we're off to hunt some dragons. Nope, I shouldn't have thrown out those dragon skills, dude. 10 minutes later, our wheel is crafted and we collect the last few Aurum Regis sand we need to get 20 Abelathian mistletoe, 10 hollow chestnut lumber, and our new gloves. So far, I'm sure it seemed like we've just been doing these to upgrade our crafting gear, making it a bit odd to get the shoes and chest piece again, but this is where the actual crafting begins. That extra doublet we got, do you remember the name of it? The Chimerical Felt Doublet of Crafting. And with the power of Desynth, a skill that can break certain items down into their base components, we've got one of the materials we needed for the Sky Pirate armor. This was only the beginning. This little harebrained scheme was the tip of the iceberg, the shallow end of the pool, and if I wanted to beat Bismarck, we would have to go much deeper. Grabbing a new hat for birch lumber, we're just missing one piece to finish our crafting gear upgrades, and as if it heard our call, the pants are just a single hat craft away. Before that, a dragon skin map popped up in our gathering from earlier, but this time it was a lot more serious. The last map we did got us a Griffin Talon for more leave access, so I had to do this for a chance at other unattainable materials. The Sea of Clouds is a dangerous area for a map, as a lot of the locations require flight, though this time around we lucked out. Taking down the hordes of enemies, it's time to open the chest. Because believers, this is guaranteed 100% a portal. Oh my god. Alright. That is our gear settled. That's it. That's done. That genuinely gave me a rush of adrenaline seeing the adamantite nuggets pop up. Nothing else mattered anymore because, well, this changes everything. We spent the next half hour cycling through leave quests in the Foundation until the one I had been waiting for popped up. It had taken 20 leave allowances to find it, but this single turn-in, the large-scale Rose and the Riveter, was worth it. Each leaf has a card to indicate the style of turn-in. This grandma card means that you can complete it 3 times, or if it's a large scale, 6 times, without spending more allowances on it. For 1 adamantite rivet, which only costs 1 adamantite nugget to make, we would gain 40 adamantite ore, 240 total after all the turn-ins. 1 adamantite nugget costs 5 adamantite ore and 1 dark steel to make, meaning that for every time we got this leave, we'd be turning 6 adamantite nuggets into 48. This essentially means we now have infinite adamantite for all our crafting needs. I had known for a while at this point that the eye level 185 gear wasn't going to be enough. It was too small of an upgrade to get us through the Sanua, and I had been desperately searching for some way to get into the next tier of armor. With this adamantite, I had finally found it. Turning in everything, we end up with 215 adamantite ore. Now it's time for a long stretch of reading through the crafting log to see what upgrades became available. And there it was, right before my very eyes, the Hammermaster's Beetle. With this, I should be able to break into the stats I needed for 3-star crafts, a much stronger level of items. Hammer chosen as our path forward, we collect some Highland wheat, dark chestnuts, and buffalo milk for sour cream and Highland flour to make a rarefied Somol tart, a collectible that we can turn in at Mordona for white scripts. With those, we grab the Masterwork 4 recipe book for Armorer and get a glimpse at our final gear. The eye level 255 equipment, Skyrat or heavy metal. The only problem was a lot of the materials like cloud mithril and heavy metal ingots seemed to use items that didn't appear on the gathering log. Normally this just meant it was bought for crafter scripts, but I hadn't realized that this was something else entirely, and the biggest roadblock we would hit on our way to take down Bismarck. They already desire the Kupo adventure, so I have to give chat what they want, right? It would be remiss of me not to. The Armorer recipes didn't actually have an entire set of gear for my Reaper visible and didn't show any lower level options, so we've got more books to unlock. 7 Somol tarts later, we hit level 70 Culinarian and 393 scripts for blacksmith, goldsmith, and leatherworker recipes. Before getting lost in more crafting plans, we had some unfinished business to attend to. Varnish, along with the hollow chestnut lumber we got from the leaves, gets us the final crafting accessories, a hollow chestnut armalay and necklace. Next up is our pant, and all that takes is 1 hat. Everything for the crafter hat is easy, aside from the intelligence dissolvent. The dissolvent needs 2 mog palms, which are fished up in the churning mist. With the Airy done, we can fly in the mist, so at least it's not out of reach, but the Mog Palm has a realistic chance of being caught with a craftable lure, so no buying bait for this one. Cloud Mika for a Cloud Mika whetstone, and an adamantite nugget get us a bladed steel jig. Then, 1 short flight away from Zenith, 2 Mog Palms. Killing deep eyes for deep eye tiers makes our grade 1 intelligence dissolvent, and hollowed water, copper ore for rose gold nuggets, flax for linen yarn, stalks of rami for rami thread and rami cloth, then turning the cloth into hollowed rami remy cloth, and mixing it with amphitheater leather makes a serpent skin hat of casting. Trading our new hat for some pants, our crafting armor is complete. After shopping around for any good leave rewards, another map ends without a portal and gets us some hollowed remy cloth and adamantite rivets. Our luck with maps was bound to turn around eventually, though the portals aren't that important. It's just cosmetics in there, right? Back to business, we need new tools. Drakes and Biasts in the churning mists for their scales, scale glue, amphitheater leather, and adamantite nuggets make a high-quality adamantite cross-pane hammer. A bit of melding later, we still need 150 craftsmanship and 130 control to make the best tools, and chat convinces me to unlock Specialist. Completing the Beloved of the Builder quest allows you to pick 3 crafting classes to become a specialist in. Specializing in that class gives you a job stone, which adds 20 craftsmanship and 20 control for basically nothing. There's some other stuff it does, but all we really care about is the stats, and I'll be honest, I don't know what else it does. We start off with blacksmith, armorer, and goldsmith specialists with the plan to swap around later with more crafter scripts if we ever needed to. To craft the tools for most other crafters, I'd have to get blacksmith geared up, which means our first goal is the Forgemaster's hammer. Rushing through some more leave allowances, we get a new offhand for my culinarian, and after realizing I had all the materials, an adamantite file for my blacksmith. Inching closer and closer to the required stats, I meld our entire set of armor full of materia and find a new food item to push us over the line. High quality beet soup will get us just enough control, so we've got more gathering to do. One of the materials it needs is Appalachian rock salt, which we can't get outside of leaves, so we spend some allowances to find it. And some more allowances. And some more allowances. Finally, with just 13 remaining, one of the large-scale leaves gave it as a reward, but taking this would mean just 3 allowances left, and I'd have to wait a week before having a decent number of them again. But beggars can't be choosers, so we turned in hollowed water for some Appalachian rock salt, and it only took half an hour. Thankfully, the rest is much easier. Yaks for yak milk, magma beets, yak milk into sour cream, logton for logton chump, pearl sprouts, and chives make 3 high-quality beet soups. With that, we've reached the breakpoint. 2-star recipes were craftable, and the next time I hopped on, I'd be crafting myself a shiny new hammer. It was really starting to feel like our crafter progression was coming to an end. Just one hammer to make, and we've entered the next tier. Astral Birch Lumber seemed to need the Carpenter Masterwork 4 book and a few other requirements. One of those being Folklore books, an item obtained with gathering scripts that allowed us to collect new materials from nodes around the expansion. Gatherer scripts were much harder to come by than the Carpenter book, so we start the day with chopping some trees. 2 dark chestnut resin gets us 40 scripts, and the Folklore book costs, wait a second. How do I get the books? No, not the Masterwork one. The Heavensward books are in Shire? No way, dude. Really? Yeah, so the astral moraine that we need to make our Forgemaster hammer requires geological folklore for Coerthus. Is there any other way for me to get astral oil for this hammer? You already know what we're gonna have to say. Back to Palace of the Dead? No way. I have to desynth it from extreme weapons. A long time ago, I had to rely on Palace of the Dead for decent materials to make the Woot's armor set. After dozens of hours of hunting for horde pieces, I couldn't even make a full set. Now, being forced back in for Heavensward extreme weapons meant I would have to get the horde pieces from an even higher floor set to have a chance to get the materials we needed. This wasn't happening. But then, that mistake I made earlier came back around and flaunted itself as our savior. Because this is the actual thing that Wait, Aquapolis. Maps. I am able to get it if we can just get a portal. Right here, watching this moment back, was where it all went wrong. The Aquapolis wasn't just for cosmetics, it was a viable upgrade path, and I was willing to try it. Today's map was out of reach, in an area that required flight, so that's yet another map with no portal. I only had the one right now, so we're back to other business. The end goal as of now was to get my armorer and possibly other crafters to 995 craftsmanship and 955 control to craft 4-star items. Which means more scripts. Poof, wow, look at that, it's been like 20 minutes or something. Weaver Masterwork 3 book, woo! With maps looming over the horizon, I needed one final check, that the eye level 185 Sky Pirate set wouldn't be enough. Unlike like everything else, it was craftable with what we had, so I needed to give it a chance. Cloud Cotton Balls and Sphalerite, Amphitheater Leather, Wyvern Wings, Deep Eye Tears, a grade 1 Vit Dissolvent, Stalks of Remy, and Remy Thread for okay, nope, we need some Weaver upgrades. Adamantite Rivets for a Birch Spinning Wheel, Cloud Cloth, Titanium Nuggets, Titanium Alloy, Bear Fat, grade 1 Strength Dissolvent because I made the wrong one earlier, Materia Gambling, Materia Melding, and we've got our Sky Pirate's Coat of Maiming. It might turn us into a posh British noble heading to a dinner party, but it also gives us the best chance yet at taking down Bismarck. For the sake of my sanity, this needed to work. 42%. We had made it much further than before, but it still wasn't close. We needed a new way forward. With Forgemaster's hammer locked behind maps, our gear was limited, but just how limited was it? At this point, map luck was the only grind we had that seemed like a solid plan, so we needed to understand where it could take us. I spent the rest of the night theory crafting with the other solos in Discord, and as soul-crushing as it was, the best possible crafting gear I could make was only able to craft 3-star recipes. Unless I could somehow get my hands on luminous fibers for high mithrite, the eye level 255 Skyrat gear was off the table, which left us with one more option. The eye level 210 icon equipment. Icon gear needed icon materials, one of which, icon cloth, we could get from the final room of the Aquapolis, and only the final room. Going off of some math from my dear friend Cider Spider, the chance of reaching the final room per map is 7.5%. Meaning on average it would take 14 days to get one chance at the icon cloth. The other icon materials, well, let's get to the point where we can craft them first, then we can worry about those. The final crafting gear for this grind was the 2-star carbon weave equipment that I didn't have the masterwork books to craft. Script turn-ins for Alchemist, Culinarian, and Carpenter masterwork books. We've got all the recipes we'll need, and it's time for the map extravaganza. The first chest is in the Coerthus Western Highlands and ends our bad luck streak. Oh, yes, finally! The Aquapolis, a dungeon filled with nothing but pure random luck, has 7 total rooms. Each room has a chest, some locked up enemies, and 2 doors. Interacting with the chest releases the enemies, and once you've defeated them all, you can open it for some materials and fancy items. With the chest open, you have a choice to make. Left or right. And then, by the whims of the dungeon, you're kicked out and the duty is failed, or you're allowed to press forward for greater rewards. Since this was our first Aquapolis, I had Stream Chat decide what doors we would take to see how far their luck could carry us. This is a trap, he'll just blame chat if we're wrong. No, I would never blame chat. Both YouTube chat and Twitch chat have decided that left is the door. So, left it shall be. I hope you were right, chat. Oh no. You've got to be joking. Oh, yes! Oh, thank you, Rainbows. Okay. Whoo! First door rainbow is kind of crazy. Oh my god. Each door has 3 chances to open. Right away, after a fake out with slamming shut, and a rainbow save right before you get kicked out. This one just wanted to make sure we were full of anxiety before letting us move on. The last thing you'll need to know about the Aquapolis is the 5 possible fights we have to face. A boss and 2 smaller enemies, a boss and 3 smaller enemies, 2 small enemies, 3 small enemies, or 4 small enemies. Everything falls into one of these categories. It's a bit weird to talk about, and enemies doesn't sound like a word anymore, so I'll just break them down when we see them because each has a unique style of progression. The Polis Hybotus is 1 boss and 2 small, things. It starts with 1 gate opening, releasing the boss and his minions, and the 2nd and 3rd gate will open when the boss's HP reaches certain thresholds, 70% and 30% respectively. Most parties don't care, but we definitely do as a solo with limited healing. 1 death in here means we get kicked out and have to try again another day. To minimize the damage we take, we single target the 2 small guys until they're dead, and then push the boss to the next gate. The second and third gate both add 2 minions to the fight for a total of 6, and with the boss dead, we're moving on. Zeolite ore, I think, is useful, but I'm not sure if a single Zeolite ore is useful. Oh, glowy gate, okay. I will take the free victory. A glowing gate is basically just a freebie, guaranteed success moving forward. For 3 minion rooms, if all 3 are the same, killing the last one will open the next gate, and if all 3 are different, one of the 3, which I currently believe is randomly selected, will open the next gate when it dies. Now for the good stuff. The rewards. The items you can get into the Aquapolis are broken up into 3 sets. Rooms 1 to 3 offer some helpful materials, but nothing that I can't just go and get myself. If we can get through this next door, rooms 4 to 6 is where we start getting the items we need, specifically astral birch lumber and adamantite ingots. Twitch chat has given a 50-50 for right-left, which means that YouTube chat gets the final say, and YouTube has overwhelmingly picked right. We can blame YouTube chat for this if it boots. Okay, we can, but then we also have to give it to YouTube chat because they got it perfectly correct. So YouTube chat did amazingly. Entering the 4th chamber, we get the 3 different enemies I mentioned before, so you already know this one. But we also get our first visit from a treasure goblin. They spawn in randomly and stick around for a few seconds, and if you manage to kill them, you get a lot of extra gil for your troubles. Unfortunately, with the whole fighting for my life thing, I can't stop attacking the main enemies, so they almost always get away. Aside from a nice boost to my lightning cluster collection, nothing good out of this one. The poll is up for you to pick what door is gonna happen. Why do you desperately go for the 50-50? YouTube chat, what are you doing? Why are you a 50-50? Why have both of my chats rejected me today? Okay, so YouTube chat gave it a 50-50. Twitch chat chose right. No, don't go right. Instinct tells me left. Raymond, this is very dangerous. Your instinct is telling you left. I am very trusting. If your instinct is telling you left, I'll go left. I will trust you fully. But if you're wrong, you're banned. Ban me instead. Okay, Mithy has decided to sacrifice himself for you. So if you're wrong, I'm banning Mithy. Not looking good. It's not looking good. It would have been Twitch chat correct. Congratulations, Mithy. How do I ban you real quick? And so began the great tradition of chatters flinging themselves at the door, hoping to be the one to succeed and avoid the ban hammer. No portal from the last map, there's something I've been putting off for a long time. Unlocking flight in Coerthas Western required us to clear the Dusk Vigil, and with a 15-second stun lock on the first boss, the only option we have is Blue Mage. The last time we were here, our gear was, not great. And while we didn't upgrade our gear since then, we did get some fancy new spells. I've already gone through all these bosses' mechanics before, so we'll rush through things. The Oliphant is an instant death for any class that tries to fight it, stunning us continuously, but on Blue Mage we can just hit it with Doom and move on. So your Helmeric is immune to Doom, so he's a lot of running around and killing the ads he spawns, and goes down to a buffed up Final Sting. And the Epicnicus deals massive damage with instant tank busters and forces us to stay in melee range, but with our newly found Diamondback spell, reducing damage taken by 90%, we can survive through its tornado phase and finally unlock flight. Nice! Okay. Swift completion of 48 minutes? I will accept that. I'm happy with a 48-minute clear time. And it did complete the quest. Thank God. Could you imagine if we came out and the quest wasn't done? After we do some side quests. Turning in for a few more scripts, this is the final check. We needed to know right here and now what gear we could make and what it would take to beat Bismarck. This was a long time, going over every individual crafting buff we could get and every piece of gear it was possible to make. And in the end, our best crafted option was Icon leather gear for Reaper. Icon cloth came from the final room in the Aquapolis, but our main material was Icon leather. The only way to get that was desynthing. Desynthing the eye-level 220 equipment from the Hunt vendor for a chance at 1 Icon leather each. Our best bet was the Igateko and Igakyahan, costing 70 Centurio seals each. Gamerscape lists these items as only being able to desynth into Icon leather, so to get a full set we would need 8 leather, 560 Centurio seals, or 28 A-rank hunts. 28 hunts is a realistic number to do, and including the 40 or so seals we can get from daily hunt boards, we could get this done in no time. Assuming I kill 2 A-ranks and complete my dailies, it would only take 7 days. That was our first option, but crafting wasn't the only way to do this. There were 2 other classes that were strong enough to kill a Sanua without all that gear: Samurai and Machinist. For Samurai to be able to take it down, we would need to reach level 76 for Tsubame Gaishi. I'm not going to pretend like I understand Samurai, so I'll just say that it's a lot of damage. Machinist, on the other hand, is a lot more straightforward. It was a class from Heavensward, meaning we could use hunt seals to get eye level 210 gear without a crafting requirement. At level 80, we get access to the Automaton Queen, and if we summon it prior to the Sanua spawning, we can use up its full damage. Then, with Reassemble guaranteeing a crit direct hit, it would be able to breeze past this fight. For those 2 to be an option, we would have to level them, which meant Palace of the Dead. So we do a quick run on each class to test how long it would take. Machinist completed floors 51 to 60 in 21 minutes, and Samurai took 23. The experience in Palace of the Dead scales up to level 50, so the 421,000 we got on Samurai was what we would get for the majority of the grind, except that, it wasn't. This was with rested XP, which was limited per day. I didn't have exact numbers for how much this would give us, so we ended up just going off the 421,000 anyways, but without rested, we would be getting half as much experience. Assuming that as I get better with the classes we speed up, we say 20 minutes per run. For Samurai, this meant 77 runs total, or just under 26 hours of Palace. Machinist got the same treatment, but without the rested XP, and ended up being a grand total of 96 hours of Palace. Throw that one in the garbage. Samurai was maybe an option, but 26 hours of Palace on a melee was going to be a new flavor of hell I was not ready for. With that, our main plan is crafting icon equipment, and our backup would be Samurai to 76. Grabbing some White Frost cotton balls, we get another map and portal. Oh no. Okay, well, we're not getting the rainbow twice in a row, so it was good to see you, chat. Nothing good out of that one. To get to 2-star crafting, we needed better stats for my Weaver, which meant a new main hand tool. The best Weaver tool we can make is the Griffin Talon Needle. We haven't gotten any Griffin Talons. After all those maps, not a single one, dude? That's crazy. No luck for map drops, and since we still can't reach Azazla to get them on our own, we're back to more descending, and this one is the worst yet. We can use Amber Encased Vilekin to get Griffin Talon rings from the Amber Trader in the Foundation. We had a few from much earlier when I was originally planning to use them for Warrior, starting us off with 5 chances at the Talon. Okay, that's not what I was hoping for. Okay, you know what? The Fending one doesn't like us, so let's try aiming. You've got to be kidding me. Healing, and you know what? Slaying. I don't want to go back to leaf farming. You can't make me. Finally, Final Fantasy XIV gotcha. Is this a finally? The only way to get more Amber Encased Vilekin is from combat leaves in Heavensward, but specifically from chests that spawn during them very rarely. The ideal leave we found for it was Jailbird Break, where we could stand in this one spot, start a leave, check for chest spawns, and abandon it within around 6 seconds. Every time we got one, we'd head back over to the trader and try the gacha once again. Chat, is this hubris? It's not hubris, it's desperation. This is actually driving me crazy. That's 10 in a row that have not had a chest. I can't just be this unlucky, right? There's genuinely no way I'm just this unlucky. Statistically, someone has to be this unlucky? Yeah, why does it have to be me? Can it be someone else, please? What other leave is there that I can try? There's gotta be something. We'll give this one a shot. Why not? Vilekin. Thank God. It can be done, which is why I'm going to get it right here and right now. This Griffin Talon. Oh, thank God. Alrighty. Cloud Mika and Adamantite Nuggets make the Griffin Talon Needle, and with some materia boosts, Weaver is ready to go. Leatherworker is the last remaining piece, and with more dragon skills for scale glue, we've got an Aurum Regis creasing knife. A bit more melding, we grab gathering collectibles for scripts, grab some carbon fiber, pterodactyls, and cloud cotton balls for cloud cotton, pterodactyl leather, and sewing thread to make a carbon weave apron of crafting, the first piece of our final crafting set. Another day means more mats. No portal on the first, and a willing sacrifice for the second. We have a chatter. that would like to risk their lives for me to only go left. 4 small enemies means another new gate condition. This time it's not based on any singular minion, but their health as a whole. When one of them drops below 90%, the second gate opens, and the third when that new group hits 90%, making this one incredibly chaotic very quickly. But the more there are, the more we heal. We're going left. Oh, Lily. Oh, no. Goodbye, Lily. You didn't make a single one. The maps were done, and our only other goal for now is the carbon we've set. Endlessly gathering the same items we had been for the last few weeks, it was time for something special. While we waited for some gathering collectibles to appear, we had enough seals for our first piece of icon leather. Here is attempt number 1. This is in Igateka. That is not even on the list of possible items from desynthing the Igateka. I am so confused. Our sources had been wrong, more wrong than we even knew now. While it only listed icon leather as a possible material drop, there were 2 others, not including demi-materia. So that 100% chance at icon leather just dropped down to 20% per 70 seals. On average, we would need 2,800 Centurio seals to make a full set of icon gear. Using the same numbers from before, 80 seals per day, this would take over a month, but I still had hope and kept pushing forward towards the icon gear all the same. Gathering scripts obtained, we've got sphalerite, rubber, titanium alloy, and all the materials we used to make the apron. Mashing them together, we get our carbon weave cap, breeches, and sleeves. Then, with a bit of materia melded into the new gear and a new offhand for my leatherworker, the boots are crafted and our full set of carbon weave is finished. The gear is made, but we still aren't strong enough to make the icon set, so we'll need to use materia. The script vendor offers up to materia 5, providing 11 craftsmanship or 7 control for each one slotted in. They were incredibly expensive, but it was going to be the only way for us to reach that next tier of crafts. When everything was finished, we needed at least 850 craftsmanship and 820 control. An hour of crafting for scripts later, our accessories are almost as strong as they can be. We head on a wild goose chase at the behest of chat and finish off the day with some hunts. We've skipped over a few of them as I got them during Solo's birthday party, but Feast of Famine is nearly complete. The last thing we need is the Helicoprion, and after 3 weeks of attempts, my quest is finally at an end. I got it. I got it. It's over. It is over forever. I never have to go fishing ever again. Foreshadowing is a narrative tool sometimes used to convey information to the audience. No, it's not foreshadowing this time, I promise. Truly the end of an era. And now we enter a never-ending cycle. Hunts and maps. 1 icon cloth from the final map room, 8 icon leather, and 1 icon iron ingot from desynthing hunt gear. If I could somehow get my hands on them, it would be over. This was the real final grind before Bismarck met their end. And with today's luck, it might just be possible. Easiest first try of my life. Okay. Come on. You can't pull a rainbow on the first door, dude. 1 boss and 3 minions is basically the same as the 4 minions from earlier. When any of them reach 90%, the next gate opens. You just do whatever the heck I want. Oh, this is great. That's a full self-destruct. That's not even, I don't even have to do this room. No, 8%. All right, well, the trail of gold on the floor leads from the center treasure chest to the left, which means it has to be left. What'd I tell you? What did I tell you? This is an actual chance at a material. This is our proper opportunity to get one of the things that we need. The materials from rooms 4 to 6 weren't as important anymore, but they would give us a huge power spike for our crafting, so still exciting if we can manage to get any. No, nothing. It's just Aurum Regis and a grade 1 dissolver. You would think that initially, right, looking at this spillage, that it came over from the right side. But what I see here is somebody came from this door, holding the treasure chest in their hands. They went to set it down, and as they set it down, they toppled a little bit. And that's why it's spread out like this and why there's nothing over towards this left door. He tripped over the carpet. Exactly. There it is. Please? Yes! Oh my god. He's so good. He's so good. The furthest we had ever been, Arcus spawns, an optional boss that drops materia if it's defeated. Normally, I would ignore it until it despawns. It's an incredibly powerful foe that can kill me in a single hit, but I felt brave and decided to take it on. It took around 5 minutes of kiting both bosses around the room, but eventually we had our victory. And our reward was another disappointment. So he comes from over here, he trips over this bit of the grate, he staggers, he spills it forward, and then he catches himself and he puts it down. It's guaranteed. You're right. Right is a synonym for correct. Exactly. And I'm always correct. Never punished. Once again, no materials we need, but there's just one door left. Our icon cloth was within reach. It's always the carpets. They're tripping hazards. You gotta be careful of these things. It's the left door. Crushed, moments away from victory, we still had 2 more to do, and this time with chat choosing the doors. The final spawn type, 2 enemies, all gates open at once. Once again, we reached the good materials, still coming up with nothing we needed, and we're kicked out on the 5th door. The final map for the day, we have another sacrifice. Saved. Wow. Oh my god. A chatter instinct has succeeded. Tack Angel, the first chat member to ever make it past the 4th door and avoid being banned. And now we see if the streak only lasted long enough for you to not get banned. Absolutely incredible. But shortly after, tragedy struck. Every enemy in the Aquapolis up to now has been relatively easy to deal with, so long as I remember to use raw intuition. Every enemy except these. Hectides, unlike everything else in here, were doing insane amounts of damage and I couldn't keep up. Our first map lost to a death. Maps for the day finished, we do our daily hunts, and finish off with the weekly challenge log to level Reaper. Hunts for seals, maps with no good items. The days began to blend together, slowly twisting into a haze, toiling towards a reward perched ever out of reach, until it finally happened. Yes, it exists, dude. Oh my god, thank you. Revitalized, a new day of map begins, but this time with a lot more pressure than the rest. This stream was after I released the Nidhogg video. As much as I don't say it, I have a schedule for my videos, a new one every 3 weeks, and I was running out of time. From the moment this stream started, I had 2 weeks, 4 stream days to beat Bismarck, or we would have to find another way. So we push on with purpose, more desperate than ever for a successful map run. If I say that it is the best bagel, then it is the best. Hi, Shen! How's it going? Can you get banned? It's all up to you, Grotto. It's whatever you feel like. Sure, why not? Okay, so you will get the later map. Shen, you get to risk life and limb for the ban. I wish you the best of luck. Even if you make it, can I still get banned? Why do you want to be banned? Here's the first chest. We don't care about the first chest. Shen, pick a door. The one behind me. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, we can do this one. We didn't get kicked out. Congratulations. Left? All right, left it is. Good luck. Okay. Yeah, great. Hi, Shen. How's it go? Oh, shit. Oh my god. Get out of my chat. You're not allowed here. A sacrifice made, but no luck. We finish up our hunts and turn in for another Icon Leather attempt. With 2 weeks to go, this was it. I needed to get a piece of Icon Leather right here and now, or I'd be pivoting to leveling Samurai and take the 26 hours of Palace. Yeah! All right. Oh my god, we've actually got a piece of the armor. Hold on. Yes, our first piece was now craftable, the Icon Leather headgear. But we also had enough for the chest piece, if I could get lucky, with one more decent. After an hour of hunting A ranks, we take down the Lord of the Wyverns and Agathos for 80 Centurio seals and head back for one more run. A fabled bracelet of Fending for an Icon Iron Ingot. Okay. Bear fat, strength dissolvents, and a new pot of beet soup. And I can't find it anywhere, but we swapped our specialist over to Leatherworker to get us the 20 craftsmanship and control boost. All these grinds coming together, we finally reach our reward. An Icon Leather corselet of Maiming. The biggest upgrade out of the entire set, the best we could have gotten. Melting, challenge logs, a quick run of Palace to get Reaper to 76, and a map with no portal. We've got 2 more things to work towards. First is new potions. Draconian potions, max potions, and super max potions of strength would all be a significant boost to our damage. A quick upgrade to my alchemist tool, and pot marjoram reduced into Dustborn Aether Sand. The day ends with a bit more collectible turn-ins and melting. Aiming for one more piece of armor, we need 2 Icon Cloth and 2 Icon Leather to make a shiny new set of pants. Things start off well with an Icon Leather drop, but quickly take a turn for the worse. 2 maps in a row with no portal was fine. I'd have plenty more chances as this was the biggest map day yet. I had prepped a grand total of 5 Aquapolis attempts, so we still had 3 more. While waiting for the next maps to become available, we grabbed some Royal Mistletoe, Powdered Merman Horn, and Rue to make max potions of strength. We still had some time to kill, so we take a deep dive into what foods were available, and baked Papira Pira looked like our best option. Papira Pira, yak milk, porcini, and fermented butter gets us a few crafts of baked Papira Pira, boosting our health, critical hit, and direct hit. 3 more maps ready to go, we somehow end up with 0 out of 5 portals. I had convinced myself that I was going to have at least one run make it to the final room, but here we stood, not a single chance available to us. Right here and now, I was afraid. It had taken 4 weeks to get 1 piece of Icon gear, and I still needed 4 more. So I took the leap. No more theory crafting. No more planning. Fight the whale. Fight it now and see how far we've come. Fight it and hope that we're even slightly closer to victory. I am going for a real attempt this time. Good luck. Circle. True north, X potion, 1, 2, 3, 54% is massive. Wow, that was close. Okay, wow. I almost just did that. I genuinely almost just did that right then and there. 13%. I could do 13%. I just needed to create the perfect rotation. After one more rest, this was it. I locked myself in. I was beating Bismarck today, no matter what. One more try at getting another piece of gear. We spent some time at the dummies to make a plan. Up to now, I had been playing like a normal Reaper, but that wasn't going to cut it for this. I needed to burst as much damage as possible in 3 GCDs. Bloodstock is an attack I can use between GCDs that opens a Reaper's main damaging attacks, Gibbet and Gallows. Gluttony is the same, but with a bit more damage and allowing me to use Gibbet or Gallows twice. But Gibbet and Gallows were too slow. Once the damage reduction started, they would be incredibly important, but right at the beginning, they were dead weight. So instead, right as the Senua spawns, we hit it with a Bloodstock and Gluttony back to back, wasting our Gibbet or Gallows, but making our first attack 860 potency instead of 340. And it can still get better. If I timed it right, I could use the ads from the first phase to turn Bloodstock into Unveiled Gibbet, adding another 60 potency. To put it simply, with this plan, I've tripled the damage I can do to the Senua in the first 2 seconds. This was it. Either way, I have 8 baked Papira Pira. We have 5 optimal attempts. We have 20 total attempts. Let's give it a shot. One more change. A chat member told us to start in the middle instead of behind the Sanua. Standing here at max melee, the second Sanua hits us with a tank buster, stopping its movement and giving us one extra attack before they tether. Nah, I almost got it. 8% is amazing. That is new PB. Crest, potion, true north. 1. That was stupid of me. Okay, great. I ruined it. No, I didn't. The last optimization, I needed to save Bloodbath until the Sanua died. Yeah, we're healing less with the AoE there on Bloodbath than otherwise. That was what? 4%? Bloodbath heals 20% of the damage you deal to the enemy, so using it while the damage reduction was active meant it was basically useless. Every last second of this fight was planned with purpose, taking advantage of everything we could. Now we just had to chase the perfect run. 3 runs in a row under 10%, pumped full of adrenaline. The instance ran out of time, and I ran out of potions. So we needed to restock. With more Duskborn Aether Sand and max potions of strength, melding my gear to make it as strong as possible, we enter the Limitless Blue. One more time. for the fight! Oh, don't be lucky. Please don't be lucky. Oh my God! Oh. Oh, it's done. Oh, it's over. Oh my God. Oh my God, I could cry. I cannot believe I just did that, dude. It is marked down, and I get to leave this instance and never come back. We really did it. This green quest right there. There was a lot that needed to be cut from this video. Maps and theory crafting, crazy ideas that got us nowhere, hundreds of leaves and script turn-ins, all for this one moment. Quest complete. With a final playtime of 411 hours, 60 hours since defeating Nidhogg, all of Heavensward is open to us, and we're on the final stretch.
To the city of Shari, that great seat of knowledge now abandoned by her keepers, they came.
Exhausted, we crawl, with all the incredible people that have supported me through this whole adventure towards Idyllshire. So much had gone into taking down a single boss, and now, finally, we're headed heavensward towards the end of another journey.